Excuse me, as we get started here, May 20th, 2025, and we have another market update for you guys here today. Very important to understand what's taking place right now. Bitcoin with its highest daily close ever. A little bit of strength on display for Bitcoin. We'll give credit where credit's due, right? Bitcoin doing all right. We might have a better version of distributed ledger technology in XRP and some of our other utility plays. We're going to be talking about that in tonight's episode. And we're going to be talking about why the SEC delayed a couple spot XRP ETFs from Grayscale and 21 shares. I didn't confirm Canary Capital's spot XRP ETF, but I'm going to assume that that's going to be delayed as well. Is this an attack on XRP, or is there something else taking place? We're going to break that down for you guys. And the title of today's episode is Ripple Ramping Up. And that ramping up is in quotations, because that's a direct quote from Jack McDonald, who is basically in charge of stablecoins at Ripple right now. Now, we're going to get into that, what that exactly means. The context is in relation to ROUSD on the XRP ledger. That's the liquidity that Ripple's looking to ramp up right now. And so we'll talk more about that later. But in tonight's episode, I want to go through the breakdown on current events, financial markets, and how to take advantage of the greatest transfer of wealth in world history, while giving you guys an opportunity for some Q&A at the end of this update. So without further ado, I'm going to get started. All of our community resources are available at zachrector.com. I also have quick links down below. When you use our links, you support the cause, and we greatly appreciate you for doing so. And if you guys haven't already too, make sure you guys subscribe, hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of our updates. We wouldn't be here without your support, so it really does mean the world to me. And let's proceed. Now, we're going to be getting started here. This is the current events. Michael Gayed. Oil priced in yen spikes on reported Israel plans to attack Iranian nuclear facilities at the same time that Japan's 40-year bond yield surges to "we are royally effed." Excuse my French. "We are royally effed" levels due to the reverse carry trade and the main event. Like and repost if you understand this. It might be time to get Michael back on. We had him on the show one time to talk about the Japan carry trade unwinding. And it really is starting to break right now with Japan's 30-year bonds all the way up, in the 40-year bond all the way up to record highs. We've never been here before. And the problem is that everybody was using the Japan carry trade to take out cheap debt in Japan, and then they were investing it in other areas. Now that Japan no longer has 0% or actually negative interest rates, this is starting to unwind. So for those of you guys that are unfamiliar with the reverse carry trade unwind out of Japan, that's what it is. Basically, they had 0% interest rates. They were actually negative for a brief moment. And now they've gone up to like 4, I think it's only like 3% is the highest their yield has ever been for their 30 and 40-year bonds. And so this is part of a global margin call. We've always brought it back to a debt, currency, and liquidity crisis. But that debt crisis part of it, that aspect of it, is the global margin call. And that Japan reverse carry trade, that's one of the sparks. Obviously, another spark would be Israel actually launching an attack on the Iranian nuclear facilities. Black swan event. If it happens, we're going to get smacked. Absolutely no doubt about it, right? And of course, we're praying for peace, and we're praying that this does not take place. As far as World War III type events, obviously, nations have to defend themselves, but there's a big difference, I think, between defending ourselves and, crossing lines. And so we got to be careful here. It's a tinderbox in the Middle East, along with other regions, including Russia, Ukraine, despite the fact that President Trump had a great 2-hour-long conversation. And President Putin promised that he does want to basically arrange for peace, arrange for the end of this war. We're not there yet, right? It's just like the XRP ETFs. We're not there yet, right? We got some filings in the process, but we're not there yet. We need to get more peace deals signed. We're going to get more trade deals signed. And obviously, those ETFs are going to go live at some point this year. And it all does lead to that number going higher. In the meantime, though, we need to stay liquid because the global margin call is underway. No doubt about it. Now, we'll continue here. Check it out. This is the vote on the motion to proceed to debate the Genius Act is scheduled tomorrow for 8:30 a.m. Pacific, 11:30 a.m. Eastern. That's the scoop from Eleanor Terrett. Now, you might be asking, but wait, we just had a vote yesterday. What was that for? That was the cloture vote, which basically says, hey, let's bring it to debate. I guess after we have this vote where we actually proceed to debate. I guess so. There's another vote after this one's conducted, and this one only needs a simple majority. So we only need 51 votes in the Senate. That's a done deal. That's done. The big one was yesterday. We needed a supermajority over 60 votes. We ended up getting 66. You guys saw Elizabeth Warren having a full meltdown in the halls of Congress there, basically on the floor. How embarrassing! Don't get me started. I mean, it's just embarrassing. It's ridiculous. I look at my senators out of my state and I think, wow, can't get much worse. And then you see Elizabeth Warren and you think, wow, geez, it's a toss-up, right? Don't get me started. Just don't get me started on these folks. You know why they're fighting so hard. Now think about this, how hard they're resisting us just having a conversation or debate about this stablecoin bill. That's how hard and how scared they are and how threatened they are by stablecoins passing and folks keeping their deposits and keeping their money outside of the legacy banking system. They don't want you to be able to earn yield. And I'm diving into this stablecoin legislation even deeper. There's some stuff in there that's very interesting, to say the least. And that would be this post here from Bill Morgan. He finds and digs up this one, and he responds to Senator Cynthia Lummis, who has rejected the meeting with Brad Garlinghouse and is refusing to schedule another one. We know who's in her pockets. We know that very well. And we know she has a few Bitcoin in her pocket too. And that's an interesting conflict of interest there that's presented itself. But maybe this is also why she didn't want to talk to Brad Garlinghouse yesterday, says Bill Morgan. Did you think he may have wanted to discuss the loophole to allow USDT to have an advantage over stablecoins issued by American companies that must comply with U.S. regulations such as RLUSD issued by Ripple? What's Bill Morgan getting at? Well, it appears that there's actually pretty much a loophole where if you issue the stablecoin outside of the U.S. jurisdiction, you can still allow that to come back into the United States through decentralized exchanges. And basically, you're not under the purview of the regulators in the United States. As long as you issue it outside of the U.S., it can basically flow back into the United States without you being under the jurisdiction. This is incredible. And this is actually, I asked Grok where this came from, and it pulled up this article here from the Atlantic Council, which was delivered on April 18, 2025 here, just last month. And they say stablecoin regulation is pending in Congress. Here are 6 ways the proposal should be improved. Well, look at the first reason right here. They say close the foreign issuer loophole. They say the biggest weakness in both bills is that they do not adequately regulate offshore stablecoin issuers. This means that they both failed to regulate Tether, the largest issuer of dollar-pegged stablecoins. Now, let me be very clear, because sometimes, the Bitcoin maxis think that we're trying to attack Bitcoin. No. We want a level playing field. And so as I bring this up, some folks might think that I want to attack Tether. That's not the case. We just want a level playing field for stablecoin issuers and for the broader market structure. For all digital assets, we want them to be on a level playing field. Same thing with this stablecoin legislation. But buried in this bill is a loophole for foreign issuers of stablecoins. This foreign issuer loophole, or Tether loophole, completely undermines the purpose of U.S. stablecoin legislation. Both bills require a company that issues stablecoins in the United States to be licensed and supervised by a federal or state regulator and comply with a host of prudential requirements. So basically, if you issue the stablecoins in the U.S., you need to be licensed, supervised, and you need to comply with all of the requirements. Got it, right? But if the stablecoins are issued offshore and simply flow back into the country, the Genius Act imposes no restrictions on the issuer or on the use of the stablecoins as long as the issuer is able to seize, freeze, burn, or prevent the transfer of tokens at the direction of law enforcement. These are the powers that most stablecoin issuers already wield, and we've actually seen Tether do this many a times, right? Where they've issued massive amounts, frozen massive amounts of Tether after they basically were requested to freeze it by the Department of Justice or other regulatory bodies. So they are complying in that sense. And this kind of brings us back, for those of you guys that like to wear a tinfoil hat, myself included. We've talked about Tether being essentially another trap for dirty money, and similar to Bitcoin, right? Beta test coin, Bitcoin. A lot of people use Bitcoin because they thought that the transactions were anonymous and that they were going to be able to conduct all these things. And we come to find out that no, it's not really anonymous at all. And it, really, I think did set a trap for many folks who thought that it was. In similar fashion, Tether, why are they being allowed to operate and continue in such a way? Well, we've long theorized that it's because they're so desperate to maintain US dollar reserve currency status that they've allowed Tether to operate this way, because at the end of the day, they're buying some treasuries, at least. Are they fully backed? Will we ever know? We don't know, but we know that they're buying some treasuries and they are expanding US dollar dominance, just like President Trump lectured the Bitcoin bros at the Bitcoin conference last year. Is it Bitcoin? No. It's stablecoins, which are going to be key to expanding US dollar dominance. And that would include stablecoins like Tether, even though they're not in compliance, even though they're shady. We don't know what their reserves are. They've allowed the US dollar to expand. And that's why we believe that this loophole is still in this bill. So it's interesting, right? This all goes back to my red folder. It all goes back to ETHgate. It all goes back to a corrupt capital markets through and through, right? The cop on the beat, the regulators that are supposed to be overseeing these markets at the SEC and others, are bought and paid for, completely corrupted to their core. And so we need to gut out and clean up these regulatory bodies. And we also need to address what's happening in the legislation that's now being proposed. They're looking to slip in some of this stuff, which not only is it not safe, not right, but it also gives really an advantage to issuers outside the United States, where they don't have to comply, but they still can bring it back and flow that, that stablecoin back into the United States. We'll be watching this closely, along with Senator Cynthia Lummis and others that are pushing forward this legislation. And I keep on asking, do these Bitcoin bros want to stand up against some of the tribalism that we see? Or is the legislation that we're about to pass just intended to serve Bitcoin bag holders, right? Do we want a level playing field? Do we want stablecoin legislation? Do we want broader market structure bill that's going to create a level playing field? Or are we just here to basically make sure the Bitcoin bag holders get taken care of, right? With the strategic Bitcoin reserve, etc. We'll be watching it very closely. And speaking of Ethereum, we have Jeffrey Wilkie, who must have been early on Ethereum. Maybe he was an ICO participant. I don't know who this guy is. But apparently, he has 105,000 Ethereum. And he's withdrawn this 105,000 ETH from Kraken via 8 new wallets just an hour after depositing the same amount. So a big Ethereum whale on the move here. And I find it so funny that everybody wants to come at Ripple and XRP for our setup. It couldn't be more transparent. We know who has a big bag of XRP, but we also know how they're handling it. Versus Bitcoin and Ethereum, you never know, right? One of these guys comes out of the closet and, he brings a big bag of Ethereum. He brings a big bag of Bitcoin along with him, right? I don't know. I guess some people are fine investing in that type of environment with that lack of transparency. For me, it doesn't make me comfy. And I just continue to watch Ethereum, Bitcoin, Tether, this whole manipulation scheme, these tools that they've used to manipulate this market. It appears that they're fighting tooth and nail to make sure that they're going to be covered going forward and be able to pass through the legislation that's now on the table. But we'll continue to update you guys on that one. Now, I wanted to bring up this because it just shows you how early we are in the XRP Ledger ecosystem. This is pure stupidity, which is what memes are. Memes are tokenized stupidity and liquidity, right? And they're a trap for stupidity and liquidity as well, too. Now, this example is absolutely ridiculous, but it goes to show us that literally rug pulls on Solana are still bigger than some of the biggest tokens in the XRP Ledger ecosystem. This is fascinating comparison to make. Look at this. I'm not going to say this gal's name. I'm not going to say her deal other than she's got the Hawk coin, right? And apparently, of course, she didn't know how crypto worked. after her meme coin crashed by 95%. Many of you guys have heard of this story. But the point and reason why I'm bringing this up is if you look at this picture right here, the market cap of this coin, of the Hawk coin, is still at $59 million. One of the biggest rug pulls on Solana, the Hawk coin, still sits at a almost $60 million market cap even after it was rug pulled. That is bigger than almost every token on the XRP ledger. There's only a few tokens that have a bigger market cap than this coin on the XRP ledger. Solana, there's a couple others. There's a couple meme coins, I think, that are at 10, 20 million market cap. But this is a rug pull on Solana that still has a bigger market cap than most of our XRP ledger tokens. That's how early we are. And I really wanted to remind folks of that. We talked about it yesterday. There's only 6.5 million XRP wallet addresses. I have over half a dozen. So I can tell you affirmatively, myself, I have over half a dozen XRP ledger wallet addresses. So out of the 6.5 million, how many people actually are in XRP? This is nothing. We are absolutely nothing. And it goes to show how early we are. And I think that there's a significant advantage, a competitive advantage that folks will have who take the time to understand the XRP ledger ecosystem now. Understanding the AMM. I'm not saying that you need to trade memes. That's not what I'm saying at all. What I'm saying is those who familiarize themselves with the ledger now, I think it's going to pay dividends when we start to see this liquidity, as I titled this episode tonight, Ripple ramping up liquidity on the XRP ledger. A big part of that, the context of the title of tonight's episode, is RLUSD liquidity on the XRP ledger. And that's going to be one of the main tools for us to use the DeFi ecosystem within our ledger is going to be RLUSD, right? We all have XRP that we want to put to use, but it's hard to put an asset like XRP that's so volatile up for collateral. This is why folks prefer to put up stablecoins as collateral. That would be RLUSD. And we didn't even have a good stablecoin to put up in our DeFi ecosystem, let alone the DeFi tools. It's all coming now. The liquidity's coming. The stablecoin's here. The DeFi programmability is being built out right now. Should you ape into these DeFi programs? Absolutely not. I've been one of the few voices sounding the alarm about all of these different DeFi protocols. But the point being, familiarize yourself with the ledger right now. How to be your own bank. How to access the AMM. Provide liquidity. Cut out any middlemen. You in the ledger. It's a beautiful relationship, right? And I want you to nurture it. I want you to learn how to use this ledger. Okay? Now let's continue on here. If you guys haven't already, let's make sure we like this video. Help us out by sharing it out far and wide. And let's continue with it while we're having a laugh. This is Not Financial Advice Crypto. And he found the exact rug from the Bearable Guy post, right? Not only the fireplace, but I think that we see the rug in a few other instances. I think that we might have seen the rug at David Schwartz's house one time, but he found the exact rug. And check this out, guys. You can get this exact rug from the Bearable Guy riddles at Home Depot. I kid you not. I'm not making this up. This is the Persian Classic rug, Persian Classic red, in a 7 by 10 foot size medallion area rug. Now, I would tell you guys right now, if my wifey would let me get that rug and put it in our house, I would be ordering it right now. But I don't think that she would allow that rug in the house. I think it's a nice rug. I mean, it's maybe not the best looking rug, but it's the Bearable Guy's rug, I'm trying to think. Maybe I could just put one in my office here. I might be taking another trip to Home Depot. I might have to place an order on HomeDepot.com. They're not an official sponsor, I promise, but I might have to. Okay? So if you guys want to get the Bearable Guy rug, I got a link for Home Depot down below. Just kidding. No link for Home Depot, but I just thought that was pretty funny that he literally found the exact rug from the Bearable Guy riddles on HomeDepot.com. And let me make a quick point on this, guys. I'm telling you, I'm wearing the Castle shirt tonight. This is the XRP Castle. Take a look. Every other community in crypto wishes that they had our lore, wishes that they had our story, wishes that they had our riddles. Nobody else has this. And I laugh at some of these other communities that are trying to come up. Oh, maybe the riddlers were actually about this coin. Maybe the riddlers were actually about my meme coin that I created. How delusional can you be? Okay. Now, the XRP community has taken the time to look at all this, and they're whether it's real or not, I'm telling you, every other community in crypto wishes that they had this going for them. Wishes that they had this lore, this story, these riddles, that the conspiracy went that deep. It doesn't. There is no conspiracy with most of these other coins, other than the creators of these projects looking to create some exit liquidity and drive a narrative. That's the only conspiracy with most of these other coins. With the XRP Ripple story, I mean, you guys have seen it just goes deep. It just goes deep. We're still up against it. We're still in the middle, right, of uncovering the truth about XRP. Was 589 the price, or does it symbolize more? We've talked about a lot of this in the past. I just thought it was funny. I just wanted to have a laugh. Home Depot coming through with the rug. Cheers, everyone. Let's get back into business here. We're gonna be talking here XRP ETFs. This is from James Safer. Delays on the spot crypto ETFs are expected. A bunch of XRP ETP dates are in the next few days. If we're going to see early approvals from the SEC on any of these assets, I would expect them. He says, I wouldn't expect them until late June or early July at the absolute earliest. More likely to be in the fourth quarter. Now, do we have a new day here? Basically is the question we got to ask. Because the SEC typically does wait, and they typically do wait for that full timeline. For the 19.4B filings, there's a timeline that's set after those are accepted, and typically they wait for those to play out. James reiterates that point right here. The SEC typically takes the full time to respond to 19B4 filings. Almost all of these filings have final due dates in October. Early decisions would would be out of the norm, no matter how crypto friendly the SEC is. There is no conspiracy here. And I know a lot of us in the XRP community feel like this is part of the conspiracy to suppress XRP, right? The fact that they've delayed the XRP spot ETFs. But that's why in my update that I dropped earlier today, I noted for everybody that they also delayed a Solana spot ETF earlier this week as well. They also delayed Bitwise's amendment where they wanted to be able to add staking, ETH staking to their ETF. They delayed that as well too. And I also noted how Solana went live with their CME futures back in March. So the futures are in place for Solana. We're just waiting for the SEC to give the green light. Yesterday, Monday, May 19th, the CME futures for XRP went live. So in a similar situation, now we just wait for these spot XRP ETFs to be approved. June or July at the earliest. And I think, there's a chance. I wouldn't say that there's a 0% chance. I know some people think it's not till the end of the year. That's not the case. 100%, right? You can't say 100% either way. What I will say 100% on, though, is that we do get the ETFs this year. 100% we are getting XRP spot ETFs this year. And then we can start to speculate on how much of inflows we're going to see after those XRP ETFs go live. But 100% they are coming this year. Okay? So that's where we stand. Now, for the title of tonight's episode, I took this direct quote from Jack McDonald. He says, ramping up ROUSD on the XRP ledger is a priority for the team. More to come on this front. Now, he's responding to BitMEX, which went live with ROUSD. You can deposit, buy, and trade on BitMEX. And you can also use ROUSD to multi-asset margining. So you can use ROUSD for margin now on their platform. And they also shared that you'll be able to use XRP for margin on their platform here soon. Now you scroll on down, and XRP Austin asked, is it the ETH version or the XRP Ledger version? Asking for like 100,000 friends. And this is because we've seen new platforms are issuing or basically activating, integrating ROUSD, but some are doing ROUSD on Ethereum. Others are doing ROUSD on the XRP ledger. In the case of BitMEX, they responded and they said that we support both ERC20 and XRP ledger deposits. Now, this is a very, very important point. This is where these exchanges will have the bridge for you. You also will have the bridge through other avenues as well. Basically, the bridge between ROUSD on Ethereum and the XRP ledger. For example, if you have ROUSD on ETH on a platform like BitMEX, because they have ROUSD on ETH and the XRP ledger on their platform, you don't need any sort of bridge other than what they have right there on their platform for you. You could convert ROUSD on ETH to ROUSD on the XRP ledger. Now, this is one of the reasons why Ripple issued ROUSD on Ethereum, is because they knew that we would have these bridges and they'd be able to bring liquidity back to the XRP ledger. We also have the EVM sidechain that's being built out. And that will allow for our developers to basically take the good part of Ethereum, which is the Ethereum virtual machine. It's where all of the smart contracts are derived from. So we get to pull that away from Ethereum, which is a piece of crap network. Many of you guys know that. And we get to draw out the best part, which is the EVM. And we get to create our own sidechain here that uses XRP as a gas token. This starts to build out our DeFi ecosystem, and we already have the bridge between the two ledgers, Ethereum and the XRP ledger. So I know a lot of people, these were common FUD narratives that have been shared here over the past few months since ROUSD is going live. No, Ripple is not just issuing this on Ethereum. They're issuing it on both ledgers. And Jack McDonald just let everybody know. And we've been waiting to get this confirmation from Ripple that they are going to focus on ramping up that liquidity on the XRP ledger. We got the official confirmation from Jack McDonald today, right? Jack McDonald says ramping up ROUSD on the XRP ledger is a priority for the team. More to come on this front. So that was the first FUD point is, oh my gosh, they're issuing ROUSD on Ethereum, but not the XRP ledger. They're issuing it on both. They're ramping up liquidity now. It's one of their focuses. Another important FUD narrative that we're going to dispel and completely get rid of right now, once again, even though I've said this 100 times, every ROUSD transaction on the XRP ledger uses XRP. ROUSD inherently cannot replace an asset that is needed as a gas token on the XRP ledger, right? That makes no sense. Anybody saying that ROUSD is going to replace XRP has no idea what they're talking about. And I know a lot of people have had this question, which is why I'm answering it here once again. ROUSD does not replace XRP. It's complementary to XRP. These are flows of liquidity where a bridge asset is not necessarily needed. We're going from somebody who is sending ROUSD to somebody who will receive ROUSD. Basically, this is a flow of liquidity where US dollar is being sent and US dollar is being received. Do you need a bridge currency to be in the middle of that? No, right? Do you even need to use blockchain technology for that flow of liquidity? Not necessarily, right? But because Ripple has now created ROUSD, they're bringing flows of liquidity that otherwise would be off ledger. And even if they were on a ledger, they might be on something else. But now they're going to be flows of liquidity that are brought to the XRP ledger. XRP will be used as a gas token for every single transaction using ROUSD on the XRP ledger. Now, obviously, if you're using ROUSD on Ethereum, are you using XRP for gas? No. You're going to use Ethereum. You're going to use a lot of Ethereum. You're going to pay a very high fee. And that's the cost of playing around on a piece of crap network, right? One of the other advantages of the XRP ledger is how great our liquidity is, and it's only getting better. And so it's very reassuring to get this confirmation from Jack McDonald today that one of the focuses of Ripple is ramping up ROUSD on the XRP ledger. Just if anybody was confused about that, if anybody was scared about that, I know the full-time fudsters have been pounding this narrative that RLUSD is going to replace XRP. It's one of the dumbest things ever because, as I said, inherently to use the XRP ledger, you need XRP, right? But for some folks, spreading FUD is more important than sharing facts. And there's consequences for that type of misinformation. And what it is it leads to more people not understanding what's taking place, which is the growth of the XRP ledger ecosystem, which is not directly correlated at all times to XRP price. See, I always laugh when I make a video and it has nothing to do with XRP price, yet people are commenting about XRP price. I could give you guys a real estate update. I've done this in the past. I was providing quite a few real estate updates last year. I haven't done one in a while. But I've done this in the past where I've made a real estate market update where the context of the video is the real estate asset class. And on that video, people will cry about XRP price. Completely missing the point and also missing what's taking place in our ecosystem, which leads me to my next point, which is the most in-depth market report we have ever gotten from Masari Crypto. Check this out. This is Masari right here on Twitter, and they share their report. Here's a couple key data points right here. This is the state of the XRP ledger Q1 2025. Ripple acquires global prime broker Hidden Road, positioning the XRP ledger for institutional adoption and expanded DeFi capabilities. Now, the quarter-on-quarter metrics that they point out is that our daily active addresses have spiked by 142%. A lot more activity on the XRP ledger taking place. Average daily CLOB volume. For those of you guys who are wondering, what the heck is CLOB? You're saying, gosh, Zach, I'm trying to learn all these crypto terms, and now you're telling me there's a new one called CLOB? All it is the XRP ledger DEX, the decentralized exchange. What it's called on the XRP ledger is the central limit order book. And basically, the XRP ledger DEX has smart routing capabilities, so it sources the best liquidity for you on its own. This is the genius behind the XRP ledger. It literally sources the best liquidity for you using that central limit order book. But they share here that the central limit order book volume is up 74% quarter on quarter. That's good. And we can do a lot better too. RLUSD market cap on the XRP ledger also grew by 304%. Now this chart right here shows you RLUSD closed Q1 with a 44.2 million market cap on the XRP ledger. And then the green line right here, I believe is, that's the XRP ledger market cap. And then the blue line is the Ethereum RLUSD market cap. So on Ethereum, the RLUSD market cap is over 200 million. And on the XRP ledger, the market cap is at 44 million at the close of Q1. And that's probably already grown somewhat since. But I wanted to point this out because remember, Masari Crypto was founded by Ryan Selkis. And for those of you guys who don't know Ryan Selkis, he is actually called for Brad Garlinghouse. I mean, he has defamed and slandered Brad Garlinghouse each and every single way, right? He has talked so bad about Ripple, XRP, and specifically Brad Garlinghouse, right? Only for all of these haters to be proven wrong in a court of law, but then they just ignore the ruling from Judge Torres. They ignore what's taking place now with the settlement, and they still want to run with this narrative that Ripple somehow lost this case, that Ripple somehow committed securities fraud, even though they were never tried. It was never alleged any sort of fraud, right? But yet they still slander and defame. And quite frankly, I wish that Brad Garlinghouse and the team would absolutely take these guys to town because there's a case to be made there. I understand why they don't, because Brad and the team at Ripple is being the adults in the room, right? They're being the bigger man by saying, okay, let's let Ryan Selkis and these other clowns run their mouth. At the end of the day, what they do is they draw in more attention, and then more people come to find out the truth about XRP, which is exactly what is happening right now. And you know what's hilarious about this coming full circle is that Ryan Selk has founded Masari Crypto. Only now for Masari Crypto, when it's time to make a little checky check and make a little money, what do all these clowns do? Zip those lips because they need that moolah. And so they're willing to take that check and shut up their FUD so that they can accept these payments from Ripple. And Ripple is the one who is basically funding these reports. Basically, Ripple is making sure that Masari Crypto is getting the word out. And this is so great to see because it's coming from basically outside of Ripple, right? Outside of the XRP ecosystem, outside of an XRP YouTuber like myself. This is coming outside of Ripple. This is coming from Masari, who is viewed as one of the top research firms in the cryptocurrency space. This is very important. And I want to show you how in-depth this report actually is. This is not like, oh, Ripple just wanted to shill what they're up to, that they purchased Hidden Road, that Ripple did some deals. No, this is in-depth on our XRP Ledger ecosystem. Data, like they're providing stats, they're putting it all together in charts. They're providing a full breakdown and report of our entire ecosystem. Check this out right here. So I'm right up here at the top, State of the XRP Ledger Q1 2025. And you go through this report. Now, this right here is one of my favorite things that they've pointed out here. Very first point, right here. Check this out. XRP's market capitalization increased 2% quarter on quarter, significantly outperforming the combined market capitalization of Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Solana, which declined by 22% quarter on quarter. So despite all these narratives, right? And I've already seen some comments coming in on my YouTube videos today. Oh, Bitcoin's at 107,000 and XRP hasn't moved. When you actually look at the data, when you actually look at the quarter on quarter growth, XRP's market cap has increased by 2%. Doesn't sound like much, but it's a whole heck of a lot better than the combined market caps of Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Solana, which has declined by 22%. Context matters. And it's important to provide that for you guys. There's some folks that need to hear that. Not all of you guys. Some of you guys got your big boy and big girl pants on and understand what you hold and understand the fundamentals here. But some folks need to be smacked with some stats right in their face that, in fact, XRP is not being outperformed by these major caps, major cryptocurrencies, at least since Trump has come into office. We've actually destroyed the returns of all these other assets. Hasn't even been close, as a matter of fact. But I digress. I just love that they pointed that out first. Ripple's ROUSD closed with a market cap of 44 million. Ripple acquired Hidden Road. Plans to migrate its post-trade operations to the XRP Ledger. Like Jack McDonald said, as I titled the episode today, we are ramping up liquidity on the XRP Ledger. The XRP Ledger EVM sidechain went live on testnet and is scheduled for mainnet launch in Q2. And we love to see that, along with a timeline that has been released, to introduce native smart contracts on the XRP Ledger with extensions that will allow developers to attach code to existing XRP Ledger primitives as the first step. We also saw that our DEX volume increased 74%, and it's still only at 13.7 million. Like I said, you got rug pulls on Solana that have bigger market caps than most of the XRP Ledger tokens combined. That's how silly this is. That's how early you are. And I know there's a lot of people that are just holding their XRP and think that this might not relate to them, but it's very, very important to understand. Right? Because ultimately, this activity that's starting to pick up, you don't need to be a degen and go play with memes. But all these guys that are, myself included, I'm guilty of it from time to time. They're driving. I've already created half a dozen wallets since the memes went live. I created a wallet for the AMM. I created a wallet on First Ledger. I ran up that wallet, created another couple wallets. And now I've created like half a dozen wallets just since the memes went live on the XRP Ledger. Like I said, out of the 6.5 million addresses on the XRP ledger? How many people are actually here? We're talking about way less than 5 million people. I think that we're conservatively at maybe a couple million. Like literally 2 to 3 million XRP holders in the world. Continuing on, they go through so much stuff. I'm not going to go through all of this. Primer, key metrics. Look at all this, guys. This just goes on and on. Financial analysis. And big growth, by the way. Big growth. And one thing that stuck out to me is when I was looking at this XRP Ledger financial overview, is looking back at last year when XRP was literally at a $30 billion market cap. Q1 2024 market cap, $34 billion. Q2, $26 billion. XRP had less than a $30 billion market cap just in Q3 of 2024, right? We're now well over 100 billion. Well over 100 billion. Now, continuing on, and by the way, we went up to 200 billion for a brief moment when we were up over 340. We basically, when we were over $3, we were quickly approaching 200 billion. We topped out at about 195 billion, I believe, when we went up to 340. Now, they just go on to share here, President Trump's True Social post. And remember the fake news trying to say Politico with their anonymous source trying to say that Trump was furious about the XRP Strategic Reserve post. Yeah. If you're still trusting Politico's reporting in today's day and age, God help you. God help you. And if you're trusting any of these mainstream news outlets that are using anonymous sources to drum up a narrative, may God be with you. It's absolutely ridiculous. But one thing I'm excited about here, on April 8th, Tia Cream Investment Advisors launched the Tia Cream 2X Long Daily XRP ETF, the first XRP-based ETF in the United States. And that is exciting because I'm actually going to be interviewing, having a panel with a representative from Tia Cream at XRP Las Vegas. That's going to be my Friday segment. So on Friday, I'm going to be up there with Tia Cream, and we're going to be talking about their XRP ETF, how it was the most successful ETF launch that they've ever had. We're going to talk about future plans, what they think about the inflows. JP Morgan predicts 4 to 8 billion. What do you guys think? I'm excited to ask some of these questions. And then on Saturday, I'm going to be up there with MoonPay. That's going to be Keith Grossman from MoonPay. Excited for that conversation as well, too. You saw that MoonPay just partnered up with MasterCard. Big one. Big one. But guys, they're running through all of this. ETFs from CoinShares. All of these ETF filings right here, right? Market cap and transaction fees. Network analysis. Nothing but growth. Right? I mean, this is so extensive. Average daily transaction overview. They're breaking this down in real detail. The types of transactions on the ledger. Offer create, payment, offer cancel, ticket create, trust set, account set. By the way, these are the primitive features that now get smart contract extensions applied to them. I'm telling you, most folks don't understand what's being built out right now. Our DeFi capabilities, you and the ledger, nobody in between. No middlemen. You want to be your own bank? You want to conduct and provide liquidity? You want to be literally a bank that not only holds your own assets, but also lends out your assets? This is all becoming a reality now. I mean, they continue on here. Payment transactions increased 36% quarter on quarter. Payments exceeded offer creates for the 5th consecutive quarter. DEX, see that central limit order book, right? This activity's picking up big time, big time. One thing that I wanted to go back to, though, is this right here. It's actually right here. XRP Ledger issued currency overview. This is shocking, really. I mean, it's incredible to look at. When you look at the amount of AMM activity in the issued currencies market cap between Q3 and Q4, Remember, at the end of Q3, basically at the end of October, which would actually be in Q4, right? October, November, December, that's Q4. So basically in Q4, we went live with XRP memes. And look at what happened. The issued currency's market cap went from 95 million to 264 million, 175% growth. Listed assets went from 3.8 thousand to 16.9 thousand, 341% growth. Average daily club volume went from 600,000 to almost 8 million, 1,138% growth. I'm telling you, you don't need to be a degen meme trader. Let these guys all go do it. Let me go. And all of this activity is just driving more demand for XRP, locking up more XRP, and burning more XRP. And this growth is staggering. We're talking about 11x growth on our DEX activity. Basically, nobody was using our XRP ledger. Nobody was using this thing. We all bought and were holding XRP, and that's all we were really doing. And all it took was one little platform in First Ledger lit that fire, and that flywheel effect has started. Now we just have more functions in DeFi on the way. Average daily AMM volume went from 161,000 to 5.2 million. That's 3,134% growth. Average daily AMM contributors went from 451 to 827, 83% growth. And this is what I'm talking about. You don't need to go trade memes, but you can start to participate and start providing your liquidity, cutting out everybody that's trying to get at your money and get at your XRP. And this can just be a relationship between you and the ledger. Nobody has to step in. You and the ledger, making love. You and the ledger, providing liquidity and earning fees for doing so. I know some folks want to beat up the technical nuance on whether or not that is passive income. I'll tell you what, coming from my blue collar background, if I'm not having to break a sweat, it might as well be considered passive income. If I'm not having to run a shovel or break a sweat, I'd consider that passive income where I come from, right? And this is what I'm so excited about. Now, finishing off here, they go through issued currencies. And like I said, this is the top tokens on the XRP ledger. Sologenic had a market cap of 91 million. ROUSD had a market cap of 25 million. And by the end of the quarter, it was up to 44 million, right? Now, think about this for a second. Think of how stupid this is. The Hawk coin on Solana has a larger market cap than ROUSD on the XRP ledger. We are so early. And if you think for 1 second that Ripple's going to allow this to continue and that this is it, you know, that mission accomplished, we're about done. I see it every day, people asking, is all this great stuff and price isn't moving, are we sure that this isn't a scam? Are we sure that this isn't a rug pull? And I get why somebody could ask that, because a legitimate rug pull on Solana has a larger market cap than ROUSD on the XRP ledger. And to that, I would say, Ripple, we can't let this happen. This is not okay. I don't care if somebody from Ripple has to personally fund. I don't care what has to be done. Can we just please have a bigger market cap of ROUSD on the XRP ledger than the hot coin? Please. Before we go do any other deals, can we just have a larger market cap than that coin, please? And we will. And it won't even be close. It won't even be close. The playing around market that you see over on Solana, our institutional liquidity is far going to surpass that. So I'm joking about this now. This is a mission that Ripple will fulfill. Zero doubt about that in my mind. But for reference, these are the largest assets on the XRP ledger. This is just ridiculous how stupid, how low this is. Sologenic with a market cap of 91 million. RLUSD 25.9 million. Bitstamp Bitcoin. Good God. I'm surprised that there's actually a market cap of 15.9 billion in Bitstamp BTC, but okay. Corium had a market cap of 14.7 million. XP Market had a market cap of 10.6 million. I'm going to pull up First Ledger right now just because I'm curious to see what some of our largest meme coin market caps are at right now on our first page of First Ledger. Sologenic with a market cap of 108 million, XRPM 28 million, Salute with 16.9, Army 16.9, Fuzzy 16.2, Phoenix 12.6, Casino Coin, shout out Daniel, 5.72 million, Drop 5 million. Guys, this is nothing. This is nothing. We have so little liquidity in our ecosystem so far. This is going to grow by 100-fold. With ease. Because awareness is spreading that we actually have DeFi on the XRP ledger. We actually have an AMM. We have memes. We have NFTs. We have more. Smart contracts are on the way. Masari is sharing this for everybody else to see. Like I said, this isn't coming from Ripple. This isn't coming from XRP shills, like people want to call me, right? This is not coming from the XRP community. This is coming from an unbiased, one of the top research firms in the crypto space, one of the most respected. And they're sharing the update, the good word about XRP and the XRP ledger. Now, continuing on. Clob volume up 74%. Clob volume exceeded NFT volume by 300x. NFT transactions, by the way, that exploded. That exploded in Q4. And I know that I keep stopping myself going through this, but I just want to reiterate these points. Joey Wallet, which is set to go live here later this month or next month, is going to help us probably double up or triple up the amount of XRP wallet addresses we have. We're at 6.5 million. We'll double that up in a year. That's my prediction. With ease. With ease. We might even triple it up. 12 million, 18 million. We'll be approaching 20 million XRP wallet addresses in the next 12 to 18 months is my prediction. Because they are simplifying the onboarding process, just like they delivered NFTs when they created XRP Cafe. Just like they delivered one of the best trading interfaces utilizing the XRP Ledger DEX in First Ledger and basically created a token launchpad for creating your own token. Now they're coming to create a wallet which will help us onboard 5-10 million more users to our ledger. It's going live in the next 30 days. People don't understand this. Most XRP holders don't understand this. They just want to know, when does the XRP number go up? I'm telling you what's going to lead to the XRP number going up if you want to take the time to learn. And you should, especially if you're getting overly emotional about XRP's quote-unquote lack of price action, which I'm about to explain that here shortly too. Right? You weren't able to do anything with our XRP ledger until we got NFTs a couple years ago, until we got our AMM over a little over a year ago. And now that we're getting all the smart contracts in DeFi, it's about to blossom. It's about to blossom. Now, any final point? Yeah, they say right here, RLUSD closed with 44 million. They talk about real world assets coming to the XRP ledger. Like, I'm just trying to show you guys how in-depth this report is. Right? These are real world assets on the XRP ledger. Euro stablecoin. Brazilian real stablecoin on the ledger. We also just got the Singapore stablecoin on the XRP ledger, right? Axelar coming in. Open Eden US Treasury bills. Many more on the way as far as real world assets. Yep. Side chains. XRP Ledger, EVM sidechain. They even give an update on Corium. They give an update on the root network, governance. Yeah. These are all the amendments that are in the process right here. Credentials, permission domains, permission dexes, deep freeze, multi-purpose tokens, simulating transaction execution, and more. Smart contract functionality. They know Zaman partnerships, Pierce's, Trust Wallet, Renor. I mean, this is so in-depth. And they finish with that closing summary once again, because everybody just wants number go up. Everybody's focused on that. Zach, we don't care about this. We just want number go up. Well, compared to some of the other major cryptos, XRP's market cap increased 2% quarter on quarter, significantly outperforming the combined market cap. Let me reiterate, the combined market cap of Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Solana, which declined by 22%. Now, a couple more data points, and then I do want to get into Q&A. Actually, yep, I just have this one, and then we're going to go into the markets, and then we're going to go into Q&A. So get your comments and questions ready to go. Blockchain Backer put out this post yesterday. The euphoria of the December-January pump is 100% washed out. Now, you might be saying, yes, and this sucks. This is sad. I'm mad at XRP. This is why we go so much higher, okay? Because XRP's holding its price. It still was up 2% quarter on quarter after running all the way up to, basically $3 in Q4. We've been able to hold despite the largest liquidation event in history of crypto, despite the Tariff Liberation Day Black Swan event. XRP's back up above $2 and holding very strong. Steady amount of inflows. Now, we are coming up against sell walls, which is why XRP hasn't broken through. We have a lack of inflows that can push us through towards that, $3 and $4 and $5 right now. That's just a fact, right? There's just a lack of inflows coming into XRP. But it's not going to take much for this to return. And the good news is how well we are holding up, how early we are in this rally. Because if we were towards the end of this rally, it would still be euphoric, right? And we would be seeing, like, real data would be confirming that we were at the end of the rally, because what we typically see is a premium on the perpetual futures market. Basically, there's a premium in the futures market because everybody's going long XRP. Everybody's excited about XRP. Everybody's euphoric about XRP. We are nowhere near that point, which means that we are nowhere near the end of the XRP bull run or rally, right? Now, we're going to take a look here at the charts real quick. Okay, so Bitcoin just had its highest daily close ever. And once again, even to that point, we have no euphoria. Bitcoin just had its highest weekly close ever. It just closed its highest daily close ever today, above 106,000. What is that? 106.7? 106.7. Highest daily close ever. Nobody's celebrating, really, right? Like, the Bitcoin community, they're doing their normal little deal, but, like, there's not even euphoria in the Bitcoin community. And that's probably because most of them are getting ready to hit the exits. But it tells me that the Bitcoin rally is not finished yet either. And so when we confirmed this week, we had the highest weekly close ever, and then we just got the highest daily close ever. I said, if we can close some days above 105, and not only did we close a day above 105, we closed the weekly above 105. I said that would confirm that we're ready to make that move towards a new all-time high for Bitcoin, which is, basically 110,000. And so it looks like that move is imminent. Now, when does XRP move? I'm expecting XRP to move along with Bitcoin. But really, once we see Bitcoin top out, that's when we're going to see the rotation and you're going to see XRP start to make that push towards $3. And I do think that we are going to make one more push towards $3 by the end of this month. And I understand that we only have 10 days left to go. Now, once again, let me clarify, a run towards $3 does not mean we hit $3. So don't come to me on June 1st and tell me, Zach, you were wrong. We didn't hit $3. I'm not saying we're going to hit $3. I'm saying that we still have another rally coming towards the end of this month that I think takes us close to $3. And I'd be happy to see us break it, but I think that the short-term traders are going to hit the exits like they already have as we approach 265 just last week. And that's where we topped out, and we came all the way back down here to basically 228 is where XRP came back down to, and that was on Monday, yesterday, right? So we closed out today at $2.35. We're starting a new candle right here, but basically our Tuesday candle closed off here at 235. You see that we already went up into my purple box. I think that we're going back into it. I think that we got one more move back up into here, and this leads us to finish off a strong month of May in an approach towards $3 for XRP after Bitcoin makes its little move up here to 110,000. And by the way, I'm still holding my XRP futures contract. That's a long position that I entered at $2.13. I'm still holding that, and I'm looking to take profit on that if and when we do approach $3. And then I'm also looking at entering a Bitcoin short. And it's been a few years since I've shorted Bitcoin. And to say that I am excited to scratch that itch would be an understatement, because I'm thrilled to be entering a new Bitcoin short after Bitcoin goes and hits a new all-time high. That's when I'll be looking to enter that one. So that's how I'm playing this thing, is I'm still in my XRP long, but I'm also preparing to go short on Bitcoin. This is how we make money when things go up and when things are going down. And it's really not that complex of a strategy, but that's where I'm sitting right now. Now, I want to open this chat up for comments, questions. I appreciate everybody for stopping by here tonight. If you haven't already, please make sure you like this video. Help us out by sharing it out far and wide. And let's get into our rapid fire Q&A. I appreciate you guys for stopping in tonight. Thank you so much. Now, I'm going to start. We got a couple super chats here. Trader Sack, thank you for the 10 spot. Thoughts on ICE 9 flip of the switch? I'm hearing Japan yen trade may be coming undone very soon. In the stablecoin legislation's passing is the last domino to fall before go time. Thoughts? Yeah, as far as ICE 9, I don't know if we'll exactly see an ICE 9 event play out like Jim Rickards describes. But yes, the global margin call is underway. The Japan reverse carry trade unwind is just one spark. It's basically the big spark. It's the main spark, which takes us to what Michael calls the main event, right? That's happening right now. Absolutely. Japan's bond market is breaking, and they are in a worse position than Greece. Don't take it from me. Take it to, I don't know if it was their prime minister or their head of their financial within their political office there. But they said that they're in a worse position than Greece. And it's true. They are. And so do we need to see the market crash before, we go up? Not necessarily. No. A black swan would be Iran nuclear facilities getting hit. Watch out for that one. And the global margin call unwind, that's something to watch here. The bond market's blowing up in the United States as well, too. Despite Secretary Bessent and what Trump have done, they have not been able to tame our bond market. If the Fed comes in and cuts rates here in June, we don't actually expect that that's going to help the cause either. So, yeah, it is something to be concerned about. Yeah, Trader Sack, thank you for the super chat. Daniel Whitley, thank you for the 2 spot. Can you do a breakdown on how to interact with it, the XRP ledger? Yeah, I've already done a video. Just type in how to XRP AMM, That's a full 20-minute tutorial on how to interact with the XRP ledger and put your assets into the AMM. But I got more on the way. More on the way. Other comments, questions, thoughts on Quant? Doesn't get me excited. I don't think it's going to be able to break $1,000 this bull run. I don't like it. I'm not really big on Quant. Who's using it, right? They can say that they're consulting a few different people, but who's actually using the token? When I see that on Quant, I might pick up a position. Can I play the XRP documentary? No, you'll have to go rent it. You'll have to go buy it. I can't play it. That would be copyright. And out of respect for Maya, Chris, and the team that put in a lot of hard work, a lot of money, a lot of XRP into creating that documentary, I think that none of us should support anybody that is copywriting it and pirating it. It's $5. Support the cause. Okay? And instead of me playing it, you go rent it and host a watch party. How about that? That's what you need to do. That's my call to action. Am I an Algorand bro? No. I hold a small bag. Same story as Quant. Need to see more traction. Need to see more usage of the token. Dennis, thank you. Japan Carry Unwind. Yeah, Jake acting as if it's Christmas. Yeah. Jake has his domino theory. Dominoes are falling. Absolutely. 100%. Hey, Zach, how long to deliver to Alberta for a sweater? Be a month this week. Yeah, so Canadian Postal Service is the worst. We are getting deliveries to Australia, Finland, Sweden, Europe, UK faster than we are Canada. This is why we've added a note on our website that shipping to Canada right now can take 2 to 4 weeks. Now, I haven't been pushing the merch for basically the past week or so because I've been allowing my guy and his team to basically catch up on all the orders that we got. As of today, all orders that we have received up to till today should be shipped, and you should have a tracking number in your email. So as far as I know, he told me that after today, we would have everybody's orders fulfilled. We got blown up, and so we had some delays over the past few weeks, and we've been catching up with that. So my apologies for that delay. But everybody that's ordered from us, your order should be delivered as of today. And so if by tomorrow you don't have an email, check your spam. Make sure that the email didn't go to your spam, but you should have a tracking number delivered to you. All orders will be delivered basically within the next 24 hours. Yeah, Canadian Postal Service is also going on strike on Friday, so we'll be monitoring that situation as well. Yeah. What happens when we send merch to Canada is it can go down, basically sometimes it goes down to LA, sits there for a week, passes our customs, goes up to Canada, and then we watch it sit up there for a week, and then it'll start going towards its destination. So it can sit for like 2 or 3 weeks before it even starts moving. Like I said, we're getting stuff to Australia and Europe before we are Canada right now. My apologies. We're moving as fast as we can. In most cases, my guy fulfills the orders in 48 hours. Your order is being shipped within 48 hours in most cases. Talk about the Coinbase Ripple battle for Circle. I think that Coinbase is bluffing. I think that they're just working with Circle to bid up the valuation to get Ripple to cough up more money. I don't think that Coinbase is in a position to close. They could be. I could be wrong. I don't think that they are. Why did the spot ETFs get delayed? It's standard for them to take basically up until the deadline that they have for the 19.4B filings. I guess that's standard. Hopefully this new SEC will move things along faster, though. My The honest truth though on why the ETFs got delayed, in my opinion, is because Wall Street doesn't have all their ducks in a row. BlackRock hasn't set up their XRP spot ETF yet. And I also believe that they're trying to dilute and basically hurt XRP with one last chance, where they're going to go live with the XRP ETFs on the same day that they do Dogecoin, the same day that they do Solana, the same day that they do Litecoin. I have a feeling that they're going to do something like that in an effort to suppress XRP one more time. But that's just the tinfoil hat XRP community member in me. Sold all of my XRP at 260. Good. I mean, what are you doing next? Right? What are you doing next? What's your take on the XXRP ETF? It's a great way to leverage XRP, go long, 2X, long daily. I'm excited to speak with them on stage at XRP Las Vegas. What laws and regulations are we waiting for on XRP? Well, we're waiting for the injunction to be lifted from Judge Torres. That would provide clarity for Ripple selling XRP to institutional investors. We are waiting for stablecoin legislation to pass. ROUSD is already in compliance and already setting the standard for that. Nobody else is over collateralized like ROUSD is. And then we're waiting for a broader market structure bill to get passed. That's going to just provide, market structure regulations for our industry. But as far as what are we waiting for to move XRP, I know a lot of people want to say we're waiting for regulations, but we didn't have regulations when XRP pumped almost 600% after the November election. What we're getting at is the flows of liquidity that we're playing with right now don't include institutions. After regulations, institutions get to come in and they don't have to worry. So in that sense, we will see significantly more price appreciation. But can we see price appreciation now? 100%. We already did. So don't sit back and think that nothing's going to happen. Don't exit XRP thinking that you have time to maybe get back in later. All it takes is another tweet from President Trump and we might see XRP's market cap bounce up by 25-50%. 1970 Legend, I appreciate you. He says, now that you're all caught up on orders, we need to focus on the July 4th giveaway. Yes, we do. We're going to go bigger and better, aren't we? Yes, we are. Appreciate you, brother. XRP 777 Riddler, thank you. What do you think bear market low will be for XRP? It's hard to tell. It depends on how high we go. My thoughts is that we top out between 20 and 30 bucks and we come down to between 5 and 10 bucks, and my hope is that we at least establish a floor price above 10 bucks. But if we fall short of 20 to 30 bucks, then we're having a different conversation. But I think if we go up to 20, 30 bucks, we could still see a big pullback to 10, 15 bucks and establish a new floor price right there. This is a game of inflows and outflows, very simply. That's all this is. Trump does not hate Ripple. Disregard anybody that told you that. It's fake news. Outright lies. Okay? Bucks, thank you for the 10 spot. Best way to take assets out of cold wallet and take profits without risking a problem on the exchange. I get nervous having exchanges handling my assets. I use Tangem. Well, Bucks, I'll just tell you what I do. I have XRP on Coinbase, Uphold, and Caleb and Brown, right? I've put XRP on all three of those platforms so that I give myself 3 opportunities to find exit liquidity when it comes to selling my XRP and my other cryptocurrency holdings too. I have them mixed up between those 3 platforms as well. And so, you got to look at what platforms do you have access to, who's going to service you the best. I like to have options. I don't think that anybody has better service than Caleb and Brown. Nobody provides institutional grade custody to anybody that has less than $1 million in assets other than Caleb and Brown using Fireblocks. So they're unmatched in that regard. Full stop. Nobody else has the level of service. Nobody else will give you institutional grade custody with less than, $1 million bucks. Coinbase is Coinbase. I don't trust them. I still use them. Uphold, I love Uphold. They, like many other exchanges, though, are going to struggle to find liquidity at the top. That's why I give myself options. But hopefully that answers your question. When will some of these ETFs go live? This year for sure. We might see some in June or July at the earliest, according to James Seifert. The final deadline is October. Yeah. How can he hate Ripple when they made the biggest donation towards his campaign? Exactly. It's nonsense. Trump and Ripple are very close. It's no coincidence that they're both conducting and closing trillion-dollar deals at the same time. It's no coincidence that they're in the Middle East closing deals at the same time, under the protection of our military, I might add. Does FXRP get any yield yet, or is it just a test? I don't know. I know that FXRP is live on the Songbird. It's not live on mainnet Flare. I'm waiting to see how that plays out before I do anything. Because I'm sitting on my hands with my XRP. Like, I'm in no rush to do anything. It does suck that Caleb and Brown's out of Canada. It does. Let's see. Daniel asked here, Silver God Candle when? I think that Silver plays out in a couple years. It might take some time on Silver. Might still take some time on Silver. Yeah, exactly, Dennis. Peak Bitcoin maxi FUD and hate. Their fear is palpable. Yeah. What can I say? What can I say? TikTok, you guys aren't mirrored. That says the better Bitcoin. What can I say? We know why they're scared. Here I was a few months ago thinking, hey, let's go to the Bitcoin conference. Let's build a bridge. Let's reach out and let's collaborate with the Bitcoin community. Let's talk about tokenizing Bitcoin on the XRP ledger. Let's talk about how we can grow the crypto space as a whole. Grow our industry as a whole. Forget about that. Forget about that. Forget about that. (1970 Legend) says, might have to put the Home Depot rug into the giveaway. Maybe I should do that, huh? That'd be pretty fun. Give away the Home Depot rug. I wonder how much they're running for those. The Home Depot rug. For those of you guys who don't know what I'm talking about, Home Depot sells the exact rug from the Bearable Guy pictures. How about that? Zach, will I get my shirt in time for XRP Las Vegas? Yeah, if you've already placed your order, yeah, absolutely. Barring anything crazy happening with the shipping. But if you're in the States, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, all orders will be shipped in on the way. Yeah. Hi, Zach. Thanks for all you do. Do you think that Velo can hit its all-time high this bull run again? USDV, tokenized gold, lending, etc. Yeah, I know a lot of people want me to deep dive Velo. It's on my list to take a look at, and so I'll follow up with you on Velo. Velo's at a 90 million market cap. One of the things that I noticed right away, though, is the circulating supply is only 7 billion and the total supply is 23.9, basically 24 billion. So I'm kind of curious on what that's about. Yeah, it looks like by September 19th of 2025, we will have 20 billion Velo unlocked and circulating. So, I got to do a deep dive before I can speak on it. But the nice thing about Velo is that it is on quite a few different exchanges already. So that it does have that going for it. Not many tier ones, but I mean, I didn't realize it was on crypto.com. That's good. Bybit, OKX, Mexi, Qcoin, Crypto.com. That's good. And the nice thing too is it's on Stellar, so you can just use the Stellar DEX to trade it as well too. Movie is still not on Amazon. Yeah, I'm wondering what's up with that. The movie was supposed to be live on Amazon last week. Any thoughts on Flare? I'm hoping that it runs up to about 10 cents this bull run. ZBCN on fire. Let's take a look. You know I like my ZBCN. Zebek. Ooh, hello. Hello, Zebeki. Look at this one. Up to 0.2 of 1 cent. Uh-oh, looking like it wants another breakout here. ZBCN. Drop my deep dive back in here. You see what happens next. And actually, I believe, is it today or no, it's tomorrow. That the Zebek space is happening with Martin from Uphold. Yeah, Wednesday, May 21st at 4 p.m. GMT. Check this out. This is Dr. Martin Hesbick. He is the head of research at Uphold. He's going to be having a spaces with Zebek, the COO, Chief Operating Officer of Zebek, Simon, and that's going to be tomorrow. Uphold and Zebek. For those of you guys that want to buy ZBCN, you can get it on Uphold and Caleb and Brown. Now, personally, I bought mine on Caleb and Brown. James, yes. James, yes, I did pick up that def. I just picked it up because I saw it low. And what I do is every time I go to O'Reilly's, I check the price on their def, and I'll pick it up when I see it on discount. It's just like when I see a good crypto on sale, I scoop it up while it's on sale. And so I do the same thing with my diesel exhaust fluid because my dang truck needs the def to run. And I know people, I saw some people said that I needed to delete that out. And yes, I do. But even if you do it yourself, it does still cost some money. And I don't know how to do it. I'm not a mechanic. So I'd have to get some help for it too. So I've kind of just been waiting on doing that. And now I don't really use my truck all that much. I fire it up and drive it around to let it run a little bit, right? To go run some errands or something. Yeah. So now that I'm not working it every single day, I've kind of just like, I just had to pay for new brakes. I just put on new tires. So I shelled out a few $1,000 for that and a few other things. And I'm like, okay, I'm done working this thing. I'm just going to let it sit there. I'm going to clean it up, let it look nice. And now I laugh because now I'm one of those guys that has a clean truck that doesn't actually get worked. But the reason why I have it is the same reason why I stack other utility investments, is because that when you need it, the thing is a beast and it's comfy as hell. You're going to haul weight in style and in comfort. and I have no modifications done. I don't care to mess around with it. Eventually, will I delete it? Probably. At some point, I'll delete out that exhaust system. But yeah, I did get my def. Thanks, James. I appreciate you. Dave, Dog, Zoe, thank you for the 2-spot. Appreciate that. Yep. Vegito Black, thank you. Zach, I want to see ZBCN hit minimal 50 cents this year. I would love that too. I'd be lying to you if I told you that I still was holding Zebek at 50 cents because my targets are a lot lower. But I'm here for it. I'm absolutely here for it. Now, the thing is ZBCN is already entering into price discovery here soon. From a market cap standpoint, it already went up to a new all-time high. And so we have to watch that closely, because basically when assets go into price discovery, everybody's in profit. So people are going to be taking profit, right? For me, I'm watching that as I said in my deep dive. I'm not telling any thing that I haven't already stated. My targets for ZBCN this bull run are half a penny to a penny. And I know a lot of people in the Zebek community said I'm being way too conservative. I probably am, but as somebody who puts out content every single day, I have a lot of people that are ready to criticize me for every little last thing. And so I got to keep my targets conservative. Okay? Doesn't mean that it can't go higher. I'd love to see a 50-cent Zebek. I know you guys we'd be having a party with some of you guys. I know some of you guys got big bags of Zebek. That'd be fun. But yeah, I mean, we got some targets ahead of us that'll be big psychological numbers, half a penny, a penny. But yeah, we'll be watching it. I bought my bag. I'm watching it closely. And I'm very bullish on it. 1970 Legend, thank you for the 5-spot. Zebek is having that space tomorrow. Yep. That's 11 a.m. Eastern. Okay, I'll be tuning into that. Thank you. Thank you for converting that GMT time into Eastern Standard Time. I appreciate that, Legend. Thank you. Yeah, so that's 11 a.m. Eastern tomorrow. Uphold in Zebek. I'll be watching that one. Zach doesn't watch Dragon Ball Z. Well, I used to. I actually used to when I was a kid, yes. Did Ripple bid 11 billion? Guys, there's a lot of just clickbait and speculation out there. I don't, that's too much of a valuation, I think, for Circle personally. So I don't think that they did, but I'm just speculating as well too, right? Any advice on Pepe and Shib? Get out when you can. Get out when you can. I think that they're gonna a lot of bag holders on Pepe and Shib. They'll be looking to hit the exits this bull run. So probably lower your targets on whatever you got for Pepe and Shib. I would lower your targets and look to get exit liquidity on the next pump. Oh, you guys are funny in the chat. Zach, will there be more talk of a lawsuit or buyback? Gosh, that reminds me that I gotta touch base with Jimmy. I'll let you guys know. I don't know what the status is of John Deaton or what he's working on. I gotta check back with Jimmy to see what he's done. And I'll let you guys know. Yeah, I'll let you guys know. Do I hold any XCN? Yes. Yep. I hold 25% of my original bag. I already sold off 75%. What is XCN at? Let's take a look. I just bought this token too, DIA. Bought that one a couple weeks ago. XCN just below 2 cents. Yeah, we'll see. It's consolidating right now. How long do you think after um how long do you think after stablecoin regulation does Tether get banned? Well, I just talked about it earlier in the episode that there's actually a loophole for issuers outside of the United States where their stablecoin can flow back into the US and they don't have to have a license or be under, the regulations of US regulators essentially until it comes back in and is traded on one of our platforms. So I'm interested to see. It's too early to tell. We got to see what the final draft of the stablecoin bill, then we will know. Right now, it's too early to tell. It looks like they might be trying to sneak in a loophole for Tether and other foreign issuers of stablecoins. Zach, what about Aura? Are you still holding it? Yes. Yep, I'm holding Aura. DEG staking is live. I wanted to mention that too. Yep. Thoughts on Ondo? I think that what they're doing is very legit. I just don't think that from an ROI standpoint, it makes sense for me right now. So I have not bought into Ondo. And I need to deep dive them a little bit further to see if maybe I am missing something. But from my understanding, they're just tokenizing a lot of treasuries. They got some really good partnerships, but from an ROI standpoint, I don't see where the driver is. Zach, how would that work? I owned about 8,000 with XRP back in 2017. Sold though when things crashed because of the lawsuit. It's too early to tell. I don't want to comment on how anything would play out. What Jimmy was trying to do was do a payout, not do a buyback, not do a lawsuit. Wanted to. It was very very serious about avoiding any sort of lawsuit and presenting this to Pam Bondi, the Attorney General, and Kash Patel and President Trump, and saying, hey, these folks were wronged. The damages are massive. We don't want to sue, but can we get compensation for the XRP holders that were damaged by the SEC's actions? That's the approach that Jimmy's now trying to take. No buyback, no lawsuit. Just, hey, let's do a clean deal. Get compensation for XRP holders. But I'll get an update from him and I'll let you guys know. XRP A11Y, thank you for the 5 spot. Hey, Zach, hope to see you in Vegas. Unfortunately, leaving on Friday. Didn't realize the XRP conference was also happening. Maybe connect on Thursday. Yeah, man. It still amazed me. A lot of people didn't even know that XRP Vegas was happening. Yeah, it's coming up here at the end of the month, next week. Next week. When do we know if we have all the gold? Now, that's a good question, Christy. When are we getting that audit? There's still so much that we have to get done, isn't there? We're so focused on crypto and making money over here. There's so much still that needs to be done. Who has the gold? Good question. I don't know. Whoa. I see XRP Shaman talking about 500,000 per XRP. Shaman, what are you doing here? Shaman, why are you talking about $500,000 per XRP? We're going to get in trouble talking about numbers that big. Yeah, Leanne, me too. I'm so excited for XRP Vegas. Absolutely. Yeah, I was looking into the gold out of lead deal at CERN. It's still it's not cost efficient. It's still a long ways from being cost efficient, but I don't know. We'll see what happens. See what happens. I still think there are a long ways to go from that. I do. Now I know about lab grown diamonds, and we've seen what that's done to the cost of diamonds. That's been a big impact on the cost of diamonds. Until I see it done at scale, I wouldn't be worried about them turning lead into gold or whatever they're doing at CERN. I'd be worried about some of the other things that they're doing at CERN, like trying to open up black holes. Feel better about Flare having gone live? Well, that's the thing, Christy, is they're only live on the testnet. They're only live on Songbird right now with the F assets. So they have F Doge, F Bitcoin, F XRP, but it's still only live on Songbird. So I'm still frustrated with Flare. Yes, I'm still frustrated. I saw Jake. I was listening to Jake last night, and he said that he is going to be interviewing Hugo. So I'm excited to see that interview. That'll be fascinating to watch. What are your thoughts on Jake Claver's XRP platform? Would you ever have them hold your XRP? So a lot of people have been asking me about this. I'm too hands-on. Like, I'm an active investor. I don't have a financial advisor. I don't plan on having, anybody manage my money when it comes to my investments or my business, right? I'm too hands-on. So it's not for me. But what they're doing is what nobody else is doing, which is basically creating family office and financial service business tailored to crypto investors. They're doing it at a level which nobody else is really doing, right? So I got to tip my hat off to them. They're doing incredible work, but it's not for me. It's just as far as how hands-on I am with my investments. A quick take on Lion. What's Lion? Is that a token? Loaded Lions? Are you guys shilling some ticker in my chat? It's always something with you guys. It's a cat. It's a dog. I'm still waiting for somebody to make a token of my fish, Pinky. If one of you guys makes a Pinky token, I'm not buying it. But I am going to laugh. I am going to laugh. It's always something with you guys. You know, a fish token, a lion token. Yeah, I would just like, if you guys would phrase your question, just say, Zach, can you review this crap coin for me? The crap coin is lions. The crap coin is Pinky. The crap, just give us the courtesy of letting us know that it's a crap coin before we spend the time, okay? We'll still look into it. I just want the context. Yes. Can you speak more about the ledger integrating AMMs, and do you think at some point we will be able to stake XRP directly through the ledger? Well, the XRP ledger is not a proof of stake blockchain, so you'll never be able to stake your XRP through some sort of function on the ledger, right? As far as what we commonly refer to as staking, you'll never be able to do that on the XRP. Excuse me, you'll never be able to do that on the XRP ledger as it's set up right now. Now, will you be able to provide liquidity partake in different DeFi protocols, which, would be considered staking in the traditional sense, yes. But there is no native staking on the XRP ledger. Now, when it comes to Ledger, the cold storage device integrating the AMM, it sounds to me like you're going to be able to just deposit into an AMM directly from your ledger, which is very fascinating, because then you literally have the whole be your own bank, interact with just you and the XRP ledger directly through your cold storage device. That's very exciting to me. Very exciting to me. Lion was a good airdrop from CRO. I don't partake in any other ecosystems besides Stellar. I just remembered that I can't say that I don't have tokens in other ecosystems, because I do have Stronghold, and I do have I can't think if I have any other tokens on Stellar, but I at least do have that. So, but I don't have any Solana tokens. I don't have any CRO tokens. I don't have any Ethereum, like meme coins. I don't mess around. Hey, Zach, will you ever go back to doing spaces on X? Yeah, that's a good question. I should, huh? I would be a good X host, I think. I mean, I've had a lot of fun hosting spaces in the past. I'm really excited to see how X expands their monetization. I already do a lot over on X, but I'm excited to see what they can do for creators going forward. Yeah. Isn't Zebek a Solana token? It is. So I guess I should clarify that too. Yes, I have Zebek, which is a layer 2 on Solana, and it's also issued on ETH. So yes, I do own that. So I do own one coin on Solana, but that's actually part of my thesis on Zebek, is that after all of the Solana degens get wrecked and liquidated, and they get beat up, and they finally give in, and they say, okay, I need to go put my assets in real utility. They can transfer their meme coin on Solana directly into Zebek. That's part of my thesis on why I think Zebek will do well. Is as the degen speculation meme coin era dies off and we go into utility, these guys will be able to just roll right over on Solana. And so that's part of my thesis on Zebek. What do you guys think? Should I start hosting X Spaces again? We could do like one a week. One a week. I like to join other people's spaces. Like there's already good spaces happening, on a daily basis in the XRP community. And so I kind of like to step into those. But maybe I should start hosting X Spaces again. Those were always fun. The thing that I had, the reason why I had so much fun with the X Spaces is because I would go completely unfiltered. Because I didn't have to worry about censorship. I didn't have to worry about getting in trouble. So the X Spaces were a lot of fun in that sense. How do I feel about the Tiger Crypto God here on TikTok? Is he legit? I know about a lot of these TikTok guys. They're funny. They entertain me. I'm not going to comment on anybody else right now, though. I think he's entertaining. That's all I'll say. Zach, what percentage are you looking to sell for half a penny with Zebek? What did I do? I think I did half my bag. half my bag. And maybe you guys will be able to come back and say, wow, you were such an idiot, Zach. You sold off way too early as the bet goes to 5, 10, 20 cents. What about hash? Yeah, Jake mentioned that one. I saw that. I watched that the clip. Um Very small project. I haven't looked into it too in depth, but it's kind of like Zebek, where Zebek is targeting a specific niche that not many people are going after. Not many people are going after the insurance industry. Like everybody's just throwing out the terms RWA, but there's a difference between throwing out, oh, we're working on RWAs on the ledger, and actually focusing on like a specific niche of RWAs, which would be insurance. The problem that I have with some of these other use cases, though, is you don't always necessarily need a token with value to get the utility, right? So that's what I worry about with some of these other use cases. With the use case and utility of liquidity, which is what the XRP ledger is focused on, you need a bridge currency. You need a bridge between all of the assets on that ledger that helps build out that the liquidity on the ledger. With some of these other use cases, you don't necessarily need a token with value tied to it. And so that's the only thing that concerns me about the insurance niche. How much of that needs to be utilizing a token with value? I'd have to look into it further, though. Australian judge ruled that we don't pay capital gains on Bitcoin and it's a currency, not an asset. Well, that's great news. That's great news. Yeah. Um, Let me what was I just about to say? Did I already talk about the fuzz since you are wearing it? This bear is the bear. This is not fuzzy. This is the bear. Okay? The fuzzy guys are going to clip that up. The fuzzy guys are always lurking. They're still trying to show me their conspiracies about fuzzy. No one seems to think that XRP can go to $50 to $100 this year. I strongly disagree. Yeah, Dennis, I mean, when I did my video, what was that, a week or so ago on $100 XRP, how we get there, it's not much. It's not much to see a, $50 XRP, $100 XRP. It's way less than what most people think. Zach, have you watched the latest Coin Bureau video? Yikes, security. No, I have not. No, I don't really watch like. I might watch like I watch Jake. I watch a couple other people from time to time. I'll tune in. I don't really watch other crypto YouTubers at all, though. To be honest with you guys, I get my crypto content from X. And then on YouTube, I'm watching broader financial market, real estate updates. That's the type of content that I watch. What is Coin Bureau's video about, though? Oh, crypto is making people targets and you might be next. Is that the video that you're talking about? Yeah, man. I mean, I take security very serious. Yeah, it's yeah. Yep. Absolutely. What about Paul Barron? I like Paul. I like Paul a lot. I don't watch him though. No, I'm serious. I don't watch anybody, guys. I tune into Jake's Spaces because I like to keep up to date on what they're rolling out and what they're working on. So that's I will tune into Jake, and then I listen to Spaces, but I really don't watch any other YouTubers at this point. And let me be clear too. That's not to say that there's not other good YouTubers. There absolutely is. There's YouTubers better than me. Um, but I just like to kind of, focus on some other things. And there is a lot of crap out there. There is a lot of crap. Good morning, crypto. Um, no, I was it was a joy to go back on their show. Usually when they're live in the morning, that's when I'm doing my update. They go live at like 8 o'clock my time, and that's when I'm first getting into the office and trying to prepare my show. And so that's the thing, guys. When you do YouTube for a living, you kind of just like have to hone in and focus on your own content. Um, if you spend all day watching other YouTubers, you're spending time not making your own content, right? So the insights have to be good and unique for me to tune in. That's why I'm pretty selective. But love what they're doing. Love Waters Above, of course. Yeah. Yeah. Yep. Thoughts on H bar? Yeah, I'm bullish. I think it runs up to $1.52 bucks this bull run. I've already done my deep dive on H bar. If you just go to my 2025 coin review playlist, it's there. Okay. All right, guys. Hey, I'm going to wrap up this show tonight. It's been an absolute pleasure with you guys here for almost 2 hours on tonight's live show. I will be back Thursday. We do this every Tuesday, Thursday at 10 p.m. Eastern. Full update and comments, questions. We want to get them all answered for you guys. If you have any follow-up, just go to my website, zachrector.com. That's the only safe place to get in touch with me, zachrector.com. It's linked up in the description, linked up in the bio on TikTok. Make sure you guys watch out for all the scammers and impersonators of me and other content creators. And like I said, for any of you guys that have ordered merch, basically any and all orders that we have, they should be shipped within the next 24 hours. So check your spam email. Make sure the tracking information didn't go to that email, your spam folder. Otherwise, you should have a tracking number for your order in the next 24 hours. If there is any issue, if you have any concern, just email merch@zachrector.com and we will update you guys there. Okay. We're just going to continue with this momentum into XRP Las Vegas next week. It's going to be a big one. And obviously we're still looking for a few things this week too. We already got the news, the delayed ETFs, but right now it's kind of just watching Bitcoin to see if we go pierce up to a new all-time high. XRP will then go on a rally afterwards, and that's when I would expect it to be making its next move towards $3. So prepare yourself for that. We will keep you guys up to date. Make sure you don't miss any of our content by subscribing, hitting that notification bell. And on the way out, if you haven't already, let's make sure we like this video. I really do appreciate your support, and all of our community resources are at zachrector.com. Okay? God bless all of you guys. We'll see you tomorrow. Take care out there.